Okay, we live in the crib, vibing with Vito. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on the YouTube at Vibing with Vito. Also follow us on the Instagram at Vibing with Vito. You already know the slogan, we vibrating higher. And today I got my brother in the building, man. It's an honor to have you, bro. What's up, bro?
Man, coolin', bro. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, you know what I'm saying, inviting me through here, man.
Man, that's dope, man. I got $1 million question for you. We'll jump right into it.
Okay.
I asked everybody that stops by to come and vibe with me the same question. How big would you dream if you knew you couldn't fail?
Man, that's an interesting question because I mean I was born dreaming big, so you know that's tough, man. Because I've always had the mindset that like the sky's the limit. So I mean that's just how I've always taken it, and my ideas even from early on might have sounded crazy or not realistic to people, but yeah, man.
Facts. So let's take it back, man. Let's take it back to the journey. I was watching some of your interviews and stuff like that. We'll get into like some of the platforms that you have created, some of the accolades that you have. But let's talk about Milwaukee, where you're from.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
How has Milwaukee shaped you into like the man, the business owner, and who you are now?
No, for sure. Man, I love my city of Milwaukee, where I'm from. 22nd and Townsend. I grew up, Section 8 housing, government assistance, you know what I'm saying? My mom's worked hard, and, she had me and my brother. Me and my lineage comes from Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay.
So that's where all my family is. But my mom's was a really hard-working woman. She left Memphis after raising all her brothers and sisters, came to Milwaukee, had me and my brother, and just, really instilled, like, hard work, in us, and just the importance of, like, education and being an individual.
Facts, absolutely. So you were in Milwaukee, and then when did you kind of migrate down here to Atlanta? Because like, would you say Atlanta was the place that kind of like popped off like all of your dreams and stuff like that, or would you say where did it start?
Yeah, so honestly, Milwaukee was where the dream started. When I was younger, I said I was going to write for the Source magazine, and I wanted to work for Def Jam. Those were like true dreams of mine that I said I wanted to do. I went to college in Minnesota, and that was where things like really became real. I started writing for the school newspaper, throwing parties, DJing, and then I met a guy who was from Milwaukee and wrote for the Source, but he lived in LA.
Right.
And that was like my first like true breakthrough from doing what I was doing locally, whether it be in Milwaukee and Minneapolis, to then being able to take what I do, take my ideas out to LA and move amongst, people who were like really in the music industry, like really in the game.
Yeah, facts. So you said writing for the Source and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So although that was something that you always wanted to do, how did you eventually venture off and then, go into like media and stuff like that? Because would you say what you do is journalism too? Like what we do?
Absolutely.
It's like, although it's a form of podcasting, it is still journalism too.
It definitely is, man. I mean, and it's funny because right now I'm entering the second phase of new media. When I first got in the game, magazines were drifting off. The .coms were it was the beginning of the blog era for real. Like that was sort of like my introduction coming into the game. And so at that time, that was new media, blogs, music platforms that were starting to stream music live. YouTube, was just starting and all of that. So that was a form of new media. Now, years later, we're in the second phase of new media where it's social media, as well as podcasting and influencers, things like that. So it's been an interesting journey watching like the different phases of media and how it changes. But to answer your question, yes, we're definitely in the realm of journalism, but it's just a little different than it was then.
Yeah, facts. So you created Off the Porch, which also kind of catapults like a lot of artists in terms of like rappers. Like you have a plethora of people to come to through your platform and stuff like that. Yeah. How did you guys get started with that? And I know is it 2 other people that work with you with the company, or is it?
Yeah, so it's 4 of us. Yeah, shout out to our founder Zip. The platform is Dirty Glove Bastard.
Facts.
And Zip started that during the blog era as we needed a answer for, you know, artists out from the South, from the Midwest, because during the blog era, most of the platforms focused on East Coast and West Coast music. You know, it was still almost like Southern rap was still kind of joked about in some of those offices, or when you would go to New York and, you know, go to the big platforms and things like that. You know, those artists wouldn't really get the same type of look that a East Coast or, you know, West Coast artist would get.
Thanks.
So Zip started the platform, you know, to solve that problem that was happening in the game. When I became a member of Dirty Glove, and also shout out the other members of Dirty Glove, Long Live Pooh.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, I remember Pooh.
Yeah, man. Pooh, he was wrecking the game. He was
Facts.
like real heavy in the game, A&R and marketing.
He was always repping that Dirty Glove.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everywhere. I used to go to studios. I didn't mean to cut you off, though, but we shedding light on, you know, on his life. I remember I used to go to like various studios, just bouncing from different studios, and I would always run into this dude.
Yeah,
and it was like, bro, he's the plug to get on the, you know, get your songs on their blog. So it was like, bro, you actually had to either go through him or like, I think I reached out to y'all on Twitter or something and actually got like a look. But yeah, shout out to Pooh.
Yeah, no, for sure. So shout out to Pooh, shout out to Hayes, shout out to Dre, shout out Mikey Nike, man, shout out Aaron, you know what I mean? Like, just, man, we got a whole team of amazing people that like really, you know, make this go around. And the one thing is that we all love music and we all love the culture. Thanks. And, you know, that common denominator and us wanting to help to bring more exposure for so many artists that weren't able to get exposure, that common denominator brought us all together, you know, with that mission.
Can I ask can we stay right there? Can I ask you a question? Because a lot of people say like the blog era kind of killed like rap. How do you feel about I feel different, but I kind of want to hear from you because you guys were kind of behind that. Because a lot of times they were saying like the blogs were kind of like showcase just like people that would like, I guess, weren't lyricists at like one point in time. How do you feel about that?
I totally disagree with that. I think that at every point of evolution, you have people from the past that just don't like and can't accept what's new, and that's just always what it's going to be. You know, I was just joking with some of the people on my team about Google Drive and Dropbox. I'm a Google Drive guy, right. And they like, nah, Spitty, like we on Dropbox, fam.
I'm on WeTransfer, bro.
You know what I mean? So it's all preferences, but no, man, like I feel like the blogs was just an evolution of the game. I mean, it went from magazines and those physical mediums of media, and it went to the blogs. And I think actually, the blogs helped to really showcase more lyricism.
I feel like that too, because like, and this was a thing, because it's like Currency, like people like Currency. He was on all of the blogs, Wiz, and you know what I mean, some of the people that are like staples in the game now, they came from like that blog era. So I disagree too as well, but that was one of the questions that, like, you know, someone wanted me to ask.
No, absolutely. And I worked with Wiz when he got signed at Warner Brothers, and you know, was there like as soon as he, you know, stepped foot in the label, and was a part of, you know, that marketing push and building with him. You know, I learned a lot from him in those early days of my marketing, because he was so savvy, and we would just build back and forth, you know, on different ideas. I mean, even like to the daily wake and bake, you know, tweets and all that.
Oh, that was tweets. Okay, facts,
you know what I mean? Like just, you know, just strategies, you know what I mean, for stuff like that. But then he was an artist who like really knew like what the blogs, you know, brought to the table, and was able to like really utilize the blogs as well as social media like to catapult his career.
Facts. I got a slogan that I always say: purpose over popularity. When I say that slogan to you, how can you put that in your own words?
I mean, that slogan is honestly what I live by. It's funny, you know, in the beginning you said like you had watched a few of my interviews, and honestly, like those are some of the only interviews that I've had, because I'm just now stepping out to share my story and, you know, to and to do this. And my mantra has been, what is it?
Purpose over popularity.
Purpose over popularity, because and I think is, you know, me being from the Midwest, you know, blue collar, you know, mind frame, you know, I'm all about putting in that work, and then I don't need to cheer about it afterwards. It's like, all right, like, because I'm on to the next one.
Okay.
So, you know, for me, it's always been about, you know, getting the job done.
Being behind the scenes?
Being behind the scenes, making it happen, you know what I mean? And, you know, and feeling fulfilled within myself, but maybe not needing to, like, cheer to the world, you know.
Facts. Let's stay right there. You said feeling secure within yourself, right? Like, how do you prioritize, like, your mental health and stay grounded, like, amongst, like, because you do, like, a plethora of things, you know what I'm saying? So how do you keep yourself grounded, you know what I'm saying, on the way, you know, on the way up on your journey?
So that's been an interesting, not interesting, but just, I think just like for all of us, a difficult journey. But I prioritize my mental health and I prioritize myself first a lot more than I ever have in the past. Like one example that I use is, like, I remember, you know, like, okay, of course you don't want to be late, you know what I mean, going to a meeting or going somewhere. But then, all right, I would do things like I would, you know, hop in my car, rush, get to a meeting, get there on time, but then I'm starving. So then, like, I'm not able to, like, retain information. I'm not on point in the meeting. I'm really no good. I might got a headache or something. You know what I'm saying? So then I started thinking, like, all right, first of all, let me just get more on point so that I don't have to be late, but let me prioritize myself so that I eat, so that I'm on point, so that when I get to this meeting, I can, you know, be the best me that I can be. So, that's something that, you know, that I made like a true decision to, like, make sure to, like, really focus on myself and make sure that I'm good before anybody else is good. Because when you get on the plane, they tell you if something happened, the mask drop down, put yours on first and then help people. Because if you help everybody else, then you know what I mean, you might miss saving the last person. You know?
I do that all the time though. Like, I always feel like, I was just telling my girl that the other day, like, I feel like I rush a lot, you know what I'm saying, because I try to get so much done in a day.
Man, happy belated birthday, bro.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro.
Because I remember seeing on social media, man, that was dope. Like, just you was really enjoying it, celebrating it, and it was just dope seeing you just enjoying yourself and happy, bro. Because you know what I mean, like, a lot of us, we kind of, like, put that to the side and don't show that, and then we keep, like, just this too cool for school type of persona. So yeah, man, when you just mentioned that, man, I had to
thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. Yeah, and speaking of that, like, I had, like, the best time of my life, you know what I'm saying, in a very long time. Because again, it's like you said, it's always about keeping a too cool persona, or showing Instagram, or showing, like, social media, like, just that side of you know what I'm saying. Bro, I was down there kicking it with my family. I surprised my mom, you know what I'm saying. They said they thought I wasn't coming down. Went down there, chilled with my mom, you know what I'm saying. I had a real good birthday, you know what I'm saying. But
that's what's up, man.
Yeah,
Let me ask you, and I don't mean to flip it, but I got to, because I ask questions too. How does your family view what you're doing right now? Because I've seen you, you know, grow significantly, you know, over the past year. You know what I mean, and what you've been doing and everything. And so I'm sure that, you know, I'm not the only person seeing it. So you know what I mean.
Thank you for that. Now my parents, like, my family, they love what I'm doing. They always supported, like, the music and stuff like that too. My dad used to tell me when I was little, it doesn't matter what you do, like, as long as you're doing it full fledged, like, you know, he's gonna support me. You know what I'm saying? He didn't care what I was doing. But the music was I feel like that was like a stepping stone for me to get here. Like, all of the connections and people that I met over the years, you know what I'm saying, it allows me to do this, be in this space, and do it kind of easy. But my family, they love this lane, and I love this lane too, because it's like, bro, I ain't gotta jump around and be sweaty and shit. I ain't gotta, you know what I'm saying, like bro, I can really just chill, talk, and, you know what I'm saying, be myself. You know what I'm saying. Not saying I wasn't with the music, but it's like, bro, sometimes
I understand.
It's difficult, like, showing people the real you sometimes, because then now they looking at it like, oh shit, well, he's showing a little bit too much. You know what I'm saying? But
and it's that thin line between, like, you have to entertain people, and then with your art you have to, you know, spread a message. And it's like, okay, how much of this is gonna be message? How much of this is gonna be art? You know what I mean? Like, that's I'm sure that's a difficult, you know what I mean?
I take pride. Well, I took pride, and I still take pride standpoint of, bro, I'll put stuff on it online, but I ain't gonna do no goofy shit just to get like likes or like, you know what I'm saying, like the glorification. I ain't doing that shit. And I feel like a lot of times, like artists now, they feel like they have to go viral, but that viral moment has to be some, you know, some bullshit. You know what I'm saying, just to get on. I ain't doing that. I feel like that's why it took me so long, you know what I'm saying, like with the music. Like I had songs with everybody. I know everybody, but it's just like, bro, I'm not a goofy. I mean, I'm just not goofy.
Nah, I understand. You know? Like, for sure. And I think, you know, what you saying is, you know, one of the like biggest problems in the music industry right now, like with up and coming artists. And that's, you know, like the need to go viral every time. You know, that takes away from marketing, you know what I mean, which is super important. Brand building, you know what I mean? Like a lot of artists, a lot of managers. Look, was that one of them alerts or whatever? Amber alerts? Because my phone went off too.
My phone just be tripping sometimes.
So anyway, you know, so many artists are focused on just trying to go viral, not focused on building a brand, not focused on building an audience, not understanding that if, you know, that you can build an audience of people that can relate to you and your lifestyle, and then have those people as fans. You know, back to the Wiz Khalifa, you know, conversation when he was tweeting Wake and Bake every day. That's so that all the stoners around the world know, like, all right, like shit, we here. Facts, you know what I mean?
So being that you said you work with labels and just different things like that too as well, and now having your own platform, how do you identify a star? Like, how do you identify? Because I know you bring people on your platform that you want to see go. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes they may not blow up. Sometimes they do. But how do you identify a star to like bring them on your platform?
I mean, it's interesting. It's not like just one set formula, but I mean, you know, there is a it factor type of, you know, thing that you can just see in someone. I mean, I think that it's about like the sound being distinct. It's about like it being relatable to a certain sense, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be relatable to me, but you know, I have enough perspective to understand if something can be relatable like to another audience, you know what I mean? So and that tip, you know, looking at things like that, like, is it relatable? Is it that it factor, that cool factor? If it's a guy, does he entice women, but then does he make dudes want to, you know, maybe pick up on like how he dressing or how he, you know, do what he do? And for a woman, are men attracted to him, and then at the same time are women attracted to him? But that's not the only basis for a female. I want to make sure that, you know what I mean, be saying that. But it's all about the it factor and skill, man. And, you know what I mean? Facts.
Can we talk about your platform, Off the Porch?
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm about to fuck you up with this one. When did you jump off the porch? I took a question off of y'all. Yeah. So when did you jump off the porch, man?
That's dope. That's what's up. I jumped off the porch. I was probably about like 12, about 12, 11 or 12. In my era, and in Milwaukee, and not even just in Milwaukee, but I would say in my era, a lot of us were latchkey kids. So I mean, I remember being in elementary school, my mama going to work, I walked to school, caught the city bus to school, and then I had a key, and I came back home, and I had to be in the house before she, you know, came in the house. And anybody that was a latchkey kid know that, you might you might go in the house first, but you're gonna be out with your partners. You're gonna be out, you know what I mean, to that last minute, you know what I mean, that you can stretch it. So and then too, man, in my neighborhood, you know, I saw a lot of things too early that I wasn't supposed to see. You know, like me and my partner seen a dead body in the alley like when I was like 11 years old. You know what I mean? Like, and it was somebody that we knew. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's like, man, we were just like seeing way too much too early, like seeing murders, like seeing, you know what I mean, just some of the worst things that you could like truly see, and not like hearing about it, but like truly seeing it, and you know what I mean, even still being traumatized by some of that stuff to this day.
Yeah, you know facts. Speaking of seeing things like being accessible and seeing too many things early, do you feel like now with like social media like desensitized like certain things, like certain situations? You may go on social media and see somebody get shot. Or
for sure, bro.
How do you feel like retaining all of this information and all of this stuff that we see online is affecting like children and
it affects children. It affects all of us
too. Like
mentally, absolutely. Like something that I've started doing. I've been doing this like the past 3 months, bro. Is when I wake up in the morning, like before I grab my phone, like I go and I meditate for like 10 minutes. Like I make sure to give myself 10 minutes of just quiet time, no talking, nothing. And I just make sure to do that to try to clear like any energy from the night before and any that might just be hitting me right there. But I found that, in doing, things like that it's,
you grounded.
Yeah, those types of practices, man, like just, keep me grounded.
Facts. So we're approaching 2025, man. You know what I'm saying? How was your 2024 and what do you foresee like your 2025 to be?
2024 went by too fast.
Facts, bro. I feel like once Halloween hit, bro, it's like the year over, bro. It's like Halloween, it's like, all right, now we at Christmas, bro. Like Thanksgiving came too quick.
It came too fast. I mean, bro, it's crazy because you good. Yo, that was wild. That was wild. But it's crazy, bro, because like I was sitting here thinking about like I remember January. I remember my trip going to LA for Grammys.
You went to the Grammys then?
Yeah. Well, I didn't go to the Grammys, but I went to LA, kicked at a bunch of Grammy events and all that.
You went.
You feel right?
Shout out to you.
Hey, to where we from and all that. Like, nigga, you went to the Grammys.
Facts.
But nah, man. So it's crazy. Like I remember January, like going out there, being in the mix, and it's like, damn, it's January all over again. So on two sides of the coin, it's like I feel on one end, I'm like, man, accomplished a lot. And I sit and I look at all the things and I'm like, damn. But then on the other end, the super critical side of me, the overthinking side of me, I'm like, damn, I didn't do this. And I got a list of all of the stuff. And I'm like, man, so.
Do you feel like you're an overachiever? Like, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, for sure.
You don't give yourself enough credit, do you?
I don't give myself
credit at all.
Almost any credit.
That's crazy, bro.
It's funny, man.
You're successful. I want to just tell you, I want to give you a flag. You successful as hell. And a lot of us kind of look at you and look at what you have created and what you have done for like the culture and be like, damn, like I want to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all platforms inspire me.
Word.
I got like a list of platforms. Like when I first started getting into this, I had a list of platforms. I still have it in my phone, but like your platform, Lala Shepard.
Shout out Lala.
It's a bunch of y'all that inspire me. You know what I'm saying? So I want to give you a flower, bro. Like nigga, you gotta give yourself some credit, bro. Real shit.
And I've been doing that a lot lately, and like learning to celebrate the small wins.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Because that's something, bro, that I didn't do a lot of, over the years. And now I'll sit and I'm like, damn, like I wrote a Source cover story. Like, man, like I'll
niggas ain't doing that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I interviewed Cat Williams in his first interview in the Source, you know what I mean, when I was writing for the Source. So, just thinking about like some of these different, accolades or just different wins and so that's a piece of advice that I always give people is like, yo, make sure that you live in the moment and, celebrate the little wins. Now, I'm not talking like I never celebrated anything, but on the tip of like just understanding now, like, man, I should have like sat back and really like, you know what I mean, like appreciate
in totality, kind of like looked at the whole thing. Yeah.
Nah, for sure. And I want to tell you, like how Off the Porch got started too.
Let's do that. That was my next question.
Oh, okay, word. So I was working with Dolph. I got laid off from Def Jam, and I was and I didn't even understand how that had happened because I had just like worked with Big Sean, spearheaded his career basically, like ran the marketing for him from his first mixtape all the way to the first album, and we had success the whole way around. I just did the marketing on the Watch the Throne album. I just did the marketing on the Kanye My Dark Twisted Fantasy album. We broke the internet with him doing a live stream of the album cover, and I'm just like, yo, I'm killing. I'm on the road. Get that call one day from HR. sorry, don't need your services anymore. So Dolph brought me in to PRE to do some consulting. Shout out to Daddy O.
Shout out to Daddy O.
And Al from Street Execs and Tech. Like shout out them dudes for real.
Right.
So we were doing press runs for Dolph, and we had came back to Atlanta after going to New York, and the interviews weren't going well. Just the journalists that were interviewing them like couldn't connect with them really, and it just wasn't a good experience. So Al from Street Execs was like, Spitty, you used to write for The Source, and y'all got DGB and been doing what y'all do during the blog era and got all this respect. Man, why don't you start doing interviews? And Dolph was like, I'll interview with you, bro. Like if it's you talking to me. And I was like, damn, okay. So I just went back in the lab. Yeah, I went back in the lab and came up with some ideas. And the Hot Boys, one of my favorite group. And on their gorilla.
My bad. No. Before we you just interviewed Juvenile, and Turk and Manny Fresh.
Yes, sir.
That was probably a dream come true.
Yo,
right?
It was definitely a dream.
We'll get into
true.
that. My bad.
Absolutely.
I had to point that out.
For
Shout
sure.
out to you.
For sure. So on the Hot Boys Guerrilla Warfare album, they skits were called Off the Porch.
That was the okay.
Yeah. And so I was living at this house in Decatur. The back porch was literally the porch that you see now. Like we remade that, but it's so I just took Dolph to the back porch, pulled the camera out, my Canon T2i, and I set it up on the tripod and just asked him some questions, and we posted it, and it went up. And then Bankroll Fresh was the next person, because I was working
rest in peace to Bankroll.
Yeah, man, rest in peace to Bankroll, man. Fresh was such good peoples, man, such a good dude, and I salute and appreciate both of those dudes for even believing in the idea and the concept that I had and allowing me to to do that, because I mean they really helped me to like get somewhere that I didn't even know I was trying to go, if that makes sense. Thanks. Like I didn't, after I stopped writing for The Source and got into the marketing side of things, I thought that my career trajectory was strictly in marketing, and that I was, gonna be this big time marketing exec and all of that, which, I've done a lot of great things in marketing and still respected in that realm. But then I definitely didn't think that I was gonna be coming back around like on the journalist tip and things like that. Even when I initially created Off the Porch, I didn't know.
Damn,
you know what I mean?
That's crazy. But you see how you said you have the marketing background. Now that you have like a product now you can really do all of that shit and push yourself.
Absolutely.
So I mean, so it didn't go like, I mean, that dream and what you learned on the marketing side,
right.
You know what I'm saying? You had to learn that, because now you have something to push and it's your own and you own it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So shout out to you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Appreciate
man, I got one last question, man, before we get up out of here, man. With the weight of the world on your shoulders, success at the palm of your hands, how do you respond when like adversity knocks at your door?
What I do, man, when adversity comes knocking at my door, bro, I take a step back and I take a couple of breaths. Like I really practice like breathing techniques and, like making sure to like clear, what I'm saying, myself of any energy, and then allow like any good energy, good thoughts, like all of that, to come to me. And then, I really, being a overthinker, and being a chess player, I look at every scenario and I look at like all of the different outcomes that could come from these different moves. And so, I try to, move in a calculated way, anticipating what might happen, from my move. And so, and then I also move without fear. And,
sometimes that'd be hard to do.
It's so hard to do.
Because you never know what's on the other side of that.
Absolutely. And even as I say it, and even as I, say it to motivate other people to do that, I mean, I'm still a man, and I struggle with things every day. And, life and all of this, it's a constant battle. You know what I mean? It's a constant battle within ourselves every day, whether it's, trying to overcome different obstacles or, different, vices that we have and things like that. Like every day is a battle, and we got to fight through and overcome it. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, that's how I approach it. I look at everything in that way, and I like really try to analyze the scenario, and I try to look at things from different perspectives and play devil's advocate. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Yeah.
Damn, bro, this crazy. I really interviewed your ass. We've been trying to do this shit for a couple of weeks, so I'm glad we got it done.
Absolutely.
Last question before we get up out of here. If you could tell your younger self anything, what would it be and why?
If I could tell my younger self anything, I would tell my younger self to be fearless and like don't hold back on anything. Every idea that you got, do it, try it, fail at it, because you're gonna regret not doing some of those ideas that you had, because you had a couple of golden ideas that you missed out on. So don't miss out on them the next time. Go after everything.
Man, facts, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, man, thanks.
And love hard too. I'm sorry, bro.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good.
Yo, lead with love, for real. Like, lead with positive energy. Don't lead with, you know what I'm saying, like animosity. I feel like negative energy. I feel like all of that, like, it holds you back, for real, man. So that's what I'm gonna say too, man. Like, lead with love, for real. That's real. It might sound corny, but it's so real.
Nah, that's real, man. Tell the people where they can find you, bro.
Man, at Spitty Will on every platform. Go to my website, suprememarketing.com, for some marketing gems, consultant, all of that. Go to dirty-glove.com for the Dirty Glove blog, the platform, and all that. And man, just type in Spitty Will anywhere, type in Off the Porch anywhere, and you're going to find us somehow, some way.
My God, thank you for coming through.
Man.
Hey, man, it's been another episode of Vibing with Vito. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. You already know the slogan. We vibrating higher, and we gone.